morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, whatever time of day it is for you. I hope that you are having a good one. Welcome back. I know I took a week off. Like I told y'all, the fam had COVID. I'm sorry. I started a new job. It's been hectic for me. But I'm back today to give y'all another word from the Almighty, the man upstairs, the Most High, the Father, Abba. And this is what it is. Today, we are talking about stage 3 on the path to relationships. So we've covered why it's important. We've covered 2 other things that I'm drawing a blank on. But today we started stage 3. And I'm excited about it. I hope you guys are excited. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for watching the videos. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you guys stay up on when these get posted. And you guys can watch them live. You guys can watch them as they're premiering. I'm hoping you guys are getting something from this. God put this on me. Only reason I'm doing it, He told me to do it. Right? So I'm giving you the words in which He's shown them to me. So don't shoot the messenger. If y'all have any questions, you can ask them. But the better choice is to ask the man upstairs for enlightenment for yourselves to receive what He's trying to put on your hearts. So today we are starting stage 3, like I said. First, before we get into that, since I started a new season literally right before I went to shoot this, God told me he placed this message on my heart, and I'm not sure if it even relates to the message at all for today, but I'm just gonna say the one-liner that He hit me with. God doesn't move you in or out of a season and allow you to bring everything or everyone from the last season. So God's not going to take you from one place to another and it look the same. The only thing that's changed is your scenery. That's not how God's going to operate. It might get way worse. He might move you from one spot to another and get way worse. Situationally, your friends are definitely probably going to change. Your relationships with your family is going to change. The people that you meet in this new season will take spots from the people in the old season and vice versa. Things change season to season. There's no season. There's 4 seasons on this planet, and in none of those seasons is it the exact same as another season. That's not how season changes work. So just be mindful of that going into your seasons, and then out of your seasons going into new seasons with people and jobs and whatever God's placing on your heart. So just be mindful of season changes. Be prepared for the loss and gain of things and people. That's a precursor, I guess, to the message. So we're gonna jump right into the message. I think it's Genesis 8. This is third. Genesis 8. Genesis 1:8. Sorry, Genesis 1:8. Let the water be gathered and dry ground appear. Let the land produce vegetation. So vegetation, you won't have vegetation without having seed. I know in the Bible it mentions seed, sowing, reaping, harvesting, farmer life, a lot, and it all starts right here in Genesis. So this stage is about you preparing yourself. It's telling you to be soil. The land produce vegetation, so it's dry ground appearing, right? You don't have land without the ground appearing to be ready to be vegetated. I think seeded. It's saying be a place that can take seed and bear fruits. That's what producing vegetation is, right? It's land that has been seeded and is able to take that seed and make it into a fruit, a vegetable, some type of plant for nourishment. So learn your soil and what fruits can be produced. What helps you grow? What helps your fruit grow? Does pressure produce? Does love produce? Does struggle produce? For every person is different. I know when I was younger, I was under whether I put myself in this position or it was thrust upon me, I put myself in a lot of positions of struggle and stress, and that produced for me, or I could produce under those conditions, whether it was sports or academics or in my family life. The more stressful it was, the better results I could produce. That's just how I was when I was younger. Now it's not the same. Like I still can produce under a lot of stress, but I produce better in quiet environments, or with time to think and collect my thoughts. I produce good, bouncing ideas off of other people, and just talking in a community, whether it's about a product or a project or not. Just being in the community for me sparks a lot of ideas. So you have to know what your soil, or what makes you produce, what brings out the best in you, what gets you to the point where you're in a space where you can take seed and turn it into something glorious. In John chapter 15, verse 16, it says, "You did not choose me, but I chose and appointed you, so that you might go ahead and bear or produce fruit that will last, and so that whatever you ask in my name, the Father will give you." So that's Jesus talking, saying he chose you for a specific reason to produce a specific product. And without you honing that soil, without you honing yourself, spending time in the Word, spending time with God to find out what that produce is, you can't bear the fruit yet. Your soil's not. You're like clay. Like nothing's gonna take root there and be able to soak in the nutrients of the soil, the rain, and everything that's around you if you're not staying in the Word, if you're not doing what God has appointed you to do. And not everybody knows what that is. And some people can instinctually are put on that path where they're producing those fruits, and God's working through them behind the scenes for His glory. That's why you see a lot of like people that are successful, celebrities. A lot of the time, you'll see them go through life being successful and they're on their platform, and then later on in life you hear them referencing their walks with God, and whether that's later on in life or early in life, they'll reference it and how helpful and the guidance that He provided for them, because they produced through God even though they didn't know it, because their soil was at a point where they could produce whatever it is that He had appointed them. It had never rained before Noah because it didn't need to. God placed water everywhere water needed to be, and the vegetation grew around it in response. So rivers, lakes, oceans, so on and so forth. What helps your fruit grow? Does pressure? I think I already said that. You do not want to be barren land in any or all of your relationships that you get in. You don't want to be in a spot where there's no water, there's nothing feeding you, the soil, to be able to feed others. One of the worst things is to get into a relationship of any kind, friend, family, significant other, and have nothing to offer. So an example of a soil that just drains is like sand. So you would be like sand at this point. All you have is sucking the life out of the people that get into relationship with you, sucking the spirit out, sucking everything that they have to offer, and not having anything to give, because your soil is barren. You have nothing because you have not treated your soil. You have not taken the steps with God to get ready to have those relationships, to be in community, to produce fruit for another person. So it would suck to be in a the barren land in a relationship. You don't want to be the person that's the sand. Maybe I've been the sand. I hope I've never been the sand. But I've been in sand relationships, and it's draining for sure. I said it in one of my prior videos, it's an unequally yoked relationship where one person is giving, one person is taking. And for some people, they make it work. If that's the type of thing you're into, you know what I'm saying? I'm not knocking no relationships, but that's not how it's designed. It says we're supposed to be helpers of each other, support systems. That's why there's community. It's not for those toxic type of relationships. So this is gonna be a long one, y'all. Matthew 13:19. It says, when anyone hears this message about the kingdom and does not understand it, I'm not gonna read this whole thing. We talked about this in the last video. The evil one comes and snatches away what was sown in their hearts. This is a seed sown along the path. So this is what we talked about last time. The seed being sown along the path, along in the roots or in the vines, and it's referring to. So I think Matthew 13:22 or 23 says, but the seed falling on good soil refers to someone who hears the word and understands it. This is the one who produces a crop yielding 100, 60, or 30 times what was sown. So again, this is Jesus referencing soil, dirt, rock. He's trying to explain that a productive soil, a soil that can take seed, that can bear seed, will also bear fruit, will be able to bear crops to be sown into somebody's life. The object is to be able to sow miracles and help bring to light gifts from other people, to save souls in the long run, and allow those souls to be able to save souls and sow your souls and start your souls. You know what I'm saying? So in order to do that, your soil has to be fruitful. You can't feed there is no banana without soil that produces that banana. There is no asparagus. I don't know if asparagus, no tomatoes, none of that if the soil is not where the soil needs to be. Everybody gonna be hungry if you out here planting seeds, tomato seeds in the gravel. It's just how it is. There's nothing for nothing for the seed to take root on. There's no plant with no root. So your soil has to be in line with your destiny, with what your path is. And the easiest way to do that is to follow God's word. You want to stay in the word. You want to stay in his presence. There's been many times where I've been lost, I've been confused about what my purpose is, and through God, he'll move me in and out of situations and seasons, and align me with people and in places that I can be best situated and further my purpose and my path. So none of that happens though if my soil that I had 8 years ago was the soil I was working with today. I wouldn't have the friends, I wouldn't have the community, I wouldn't have the relationships, I wouldn't be willing to experiment with this. I wouldn't be open to it. I wouldn't be open to trying, I would have never been open to trying a community church with my wife. There's a lot of things that I would not have been able to hold on to had my soil not been ready, my spirit not been open to trying those things. What was man made from? He wasn't made from clay. He wasn't made from rock. He wasn't made from diamond or gold, no matter what some people may think. Why was it soil? It was soil because In soil, the world finds growth. So if you're made out of soil, and in the soil, the world finds growth, then the world finds growth in you, right? This is the example of how the world shall be shaped in the walk of the Christian's life. We are created from the materials of the world, the flesh, but the breath of the Lord gives us life. So this is an earthly body for sure. Every piece of it, you're created from the dust of the world. So this is a worldly temple, but everything that's in this body, my heart, spirit, soul, mind, thoughts, is all through the breath of Christ, which gives me life. The life of Christ is what sustains me spiritually, which is the life of a Christian. If your spiritual life is not healthy, then your spirit is not healthy. Therefore, you are not healthy. That's a whole different topic. Once you start getting into unhealthy spiritual ways, and that's how you get to bad soil. You don't want to be bad soil. We've been telling you, you don't want to be bad soil. Psalms chapter 1, verse 1 through 3 says, "Blessed is the one who does not walk in step with the wicked, or stand in the way that sinners take, or sit in the company of the mockers, but who delights in the law of the Lord, and who meditates on his law day and night. That person is like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season, and whose leaf does not wither, whatever they do prospers." So there's a lot in there. There's a lot in there to unpack. I'm not going to unpack it all. Not today. Maybe in a separate one. But we are going to unpack. That person is like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season. We've already talked about streams, oceans, lakes. It didn't happen until God needed them, or they were there before the rain. So he didn't need rain because he placed the water where it needed to be placed. Just like you being a tree planted right where you need to be fruitful. It's up to you to make sure your soil can take the seed that makes you the tree to produce fruit. In this analogy, you're not just a tree, you're everything. You're the tree, the soil, the seed, everything but the fruit. You are producing fruit, and your environment needs to be set up to be able to produce the best fruit that it possibly can. But you're not going to see the evidence of that fruit immediately. Everything comes in and out of season. And I guess this is maybe why he touched me with this. Everything comes in and out of season. And you have to be prepared as a tree, as a soil, to have your fruit ready in the season in which God is planning it to be ready. You're not gonna get your tropical pineapples in the wintertime. I don't think that's how pineapples work. You need a lot of sun, heat, and all kinds of different things. But if you're prepared, if you're out of season, if you're like, all right, got my soil, we good. I'm good with the Lord. I'm good. My tree done grewed up. You know what I'm saying? Now we ready for this fruit, and it's out of season. And then you're like, it took too long. It's taking too long. It's taking too long. I'm done. I'm gonna go back to what I was doing. I was doing good. I wasn't even doing that bad. Like, yeah, my bill might have been a little late, but I could have managed had I not. Now you out of season. Guys like, it was about to get hot up in this thing. Now you out here tripping, and you out of season. All your pineapples about to be rotten. So you have to make sure that you're patient, and patience doesn't wear off. Because guess why? Because patience is a fruit of the Spirit, and you can only get the fruit and gifts of the Spirit by being in season with the Lord. So 1 Peter 2:21 says, "To you this To this you were called, because Christ suffered for you, leaving for you an example that you should follow in his steps. Luke 2:46-49 says, after 3 days they found him in the temple courts, sitting among the teachers, listening to them and asking them questions. Everyone who heard him was amazed at his understanding and his answers. When his parents saw him, they were astonished. His mother said, son, why have you treated us like this? Your father and I have been anxiously searching for you. Christ replies, why were you searching for me? He said, didn't you know I had been in my father's house? Jesus was 12 years old when he got to the steps of learning. He was in the temple courts asking questions, learning all what was going on. And it was another 18 years before he stepped back on the scene to teach. My man's went into the church, into the temple, into the synagogue, asked a whole bunch of questions. Then his mama snatched him up out of there. It was a whole fresh senior school time span before we saw this man again. He was learning everything that he needed to know. He was 30 years old when he stepped back out and began to teach. Because why? That's when his season was. He couldn't go. He didn't go into the synagogue when he was 12 and started busting out scripture and telling them, yo, y'all need to be such. You know what I'm saying? He didn't. That's not how it worked. He set the example for us by giving that time for him to learn what he needed to learn, and to season himself so he was ready when it was time. Season himself spiritually. I imagine that Jesus spent a lot of time in those 18 years talking to God, fellowshipping with his parents, fellowshipping with other kids, fellowshipping with other adults, learning and still teaching what he had learned up to that point. Again, 18 years is a lot of time to spend. If you are praying without ceasing, that's a lot of back and forth with him and God. So he was set up at prime time when he turned 30 to reach out and teach what he needed to teach. Romans 2:20-21 says, an instructor of the foolish, a teacher of little children, because you have in the law the embodiment of knowledge and truth. You then who teach others, do you not teach yourself? You who preach against stealing, do you steal? So again, it's telling you, you know it and you don't follow it. A person, or Romans 2:28-29 says, a person is not a Jew who is one outwardly, nor is circumcision merely outward and physical. No, a person is a Jew who is one inwardly, and circumcision is circumcision of the heart by the Spirit, not by the written code. Such a person's praise is not from other people, but from God. So you ask, how will you know if your soil is fruitful, right? You do all this praying, you reading, you're like, man, I memorized all the scriptures. I know at least 7 of them. I'm still working. I'm 7-ish. I've been staying right. I've been listening to sermons. I'm getting the word in. I don't go to the club no more. This is how you'll know if you're starting to produce fruit. You will start to see the fruits of the Spirit increase in your life. Oh, what are the fruits of the Spirit, man? How am I supposed to know? I have the answer. Galatians 5:22 says, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, and faithfulness. I'm going to say it again. Love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, and faithfulness. I think there's 2 more, patience and something else. It's in Galatians 5:22-23. That's how you know. If you start to see yourself more joyful, more outwardly kind to people, your patience is increasing, you're faithful to a fault, especially when it comes to dealing with God, and you giving reverence and seeing things start to move, or even an unwavering determination to praise even in adversity. That's how you know when your faith when your your fruit is, man, it's about to pop. When you start, or when you're content in the storm, that's when you know, yo, I'm in a good place. Even though it don't look good around me, I know God is with me and I'm good. Those are the moments where your fruit will ripen for another person, for your circumstances. I have seen a lot of my fruit be given to others. So it's been rare that it's been a circumstantial increase. Even though, like I said, I did just start a new job and I'm in a better place financially, it's rare where I'll see a financial increase when I'm going through a spiritual storm. It's usually a person, for me, that I'm getting newly acclimated to, or just meeting, or able to change their life in one way or another. And it's almost always in a time that's really, really rough for me. So those are the times where you'll see it and hopefully be able to realize I'm in a good spot spiritually and with God. So that's all I got for you guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I was all over the place. Forgive me. At least I didn't say parable this time, or parabola this time. It's parable, not parabola. You can see how I got it. I've been practicing to make sure I had it in case I had to have it, but I didn't need it. But you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. Yeah. Anyway, again, sorry that it's so late. I will try and get another video to y'all this week, maybe this weekend. And then be caught up. Depends on how God's bopping me on top of my head. Like I said, I got a lot going on. So I give y'all what I got, everything I got. And until next time, peace. I love y'all.